I'm Wayne Stevenson, and I'll be your host for Walk on the Water. Walk on the Water will be a video podcast. It'll have a variety of different things and guests, and it's just all about living life. So please keep up with future episodes by following me on Facebook and subscribing to our YouTube channel. I want to share with you a story about a group from World War II called the 58th Armored Field Artillery Battalion, and in particular one soldier that was a member of that group. You see, the 58th, they saw the worst of World War II. They chased Rommel across North Africa. They fought their way up through Sicily and Italy. And on D-Day, they found themselves landing on Omaha Beach. And there is a book actually written about the 58th Armored Field Artillery called Hot Steel. And I want to share with you a description from that book about their time on Omaha Beach. It says from the book, Omaha Beach will become unquestionably another glorious page in American history. But on the morning of June 6, 1944, it was a cold, wet, shell-splattered hell. And it will forever be etched as such in the memory of the men of the 58th who participated in that landing. The beach and defenses beyond the beach had been thoroughly bombed and shelled by both warships and guns from the landing craft. But as the small landing craft grounded and their ramps went down, a murderous crossfire from well-placed machine gun nests cut them down. Mortars and artillery fire crashed along the water's edge, and the men died in the water and they died on the shore, and all that day long, death walked on the beach at Omaha. Well, they left Omaha Beach and they went on to fight in the Battle of the Bulge. As I said, they saw the worst of World War II. But as things would happen, some of the men, they survived, they came home, and in the early 1970s, a group of men that had been a part of the 58 decided they wanted to go back to Europe and see some of the places they had been during the war. And I don't know their reasoning for wanting to go back. Maybe because they had seen such devastation and destruction during the war, they wanted to go back and see the places that had been rebuilt. Maybe it would just bring some kind of closure to them. Anyway, they scheduled a trip to go back and work, and through travel agents, they scheduled to go to some towns in France that they had liberated. And as they were visiting a small town in France, one that they had liberated, the townspeople had a reception for them. And while they were at the reception, a lady came up to one of them and said, "Is the soldier that you called Big Steve with you?" And he said, "No, but I know who you're talking about. He didn't make the trip with us." And he said, curiosity got the best of me, and I just asked her, of course speaking through an interpreter, why was she asking particular for Big Steve? Was he a family member? Was there some relationship there? And she said, no. She said, when the war was going on, I was just a little girl. And she said, we lived terrified. And then the American soldiers came. And she said there was a soldier that they called Big Steve. And he was giving out candy to the children in the town. And she said, I walked up to him and he got down on one knee and he handed me a piece of candy. And this soldier, who looked like a giant to me in his uniform and everything, held out his arms, opened up his arms, and I ran into his arms and he wrapped his arms around me. And at that very moment, I knew I didn't have to be scared anymore. I knew everything was going to be okay. Think about that. This soldier who saw the worst of the worst, Omaha Beach, the Battle of the Bulge, North Africa, probably giving a piece of candy to this little girl, he never thought about it again. But it made such a lasting impact on her as a small child that some 30 plus years later, she came looking for him. She remembered his name in a different language, and she remembered what he had done for her, that she didn't have to be scared anymore. Well, the moral of this story is we never know when sometimes the smallest little things we do for somebody may seem insignificant to us, but it might have a lasting impression on someone else. But sadly, there's a negative side to that too. You know, sometimes when we make that little snide remark or we fly off the handle without thinking and we make a comment, we may not think a whole lot about it, but it may hurt someone and it may have a lasting negative effect on someone. So, got to be careful. As a matter of fact, I guess the best advice to do is just live like Jesus wants us to live. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And one other thing. I know a little bit about this story. The soldier, the one they call Big Steve. Well, you see, after all he'd done and the medals he earned, America called him a hero. But I'm the only one that could call him Daddy.